Councillor McDougall, did you? I'm sorry, MacMullin. Yeah, I know.
There we go. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And again, I have the minute. It's just, I need to bring this up because I was in attendance. I was asked numerous times by residents, a couple media outlets, and I'm not going to answer on behalf of someone else. So on Friday just past, some council attended a breakfast with the municipality of Wood Buffalo, and it was noted that some pictures went onto social media, and it was noticed there was an individual there that was not necessarily a CBR member, and it's been stated that this person is actually an employee of a political party, a provincial political party. So I'm not going to answer on your behalf. I don't feel comfortable in making my own statements. I'd like it clarified. So what I'm asking of you, Mr. Mayor, is if they were actually a member of a political party, to clarify why that person would have been at that event, and that would save me from having to.
Right, as opposed to a statement, because I wouldn't normally have to respond. If you actually were asking of a point of order, point of privilege in terms of clarification, would probably be a better parliamentary request to that, because ultimately if you had a minute there would be no response to that. With regards to the invitation that was extended from Wood Buffalo in response to the giving back to the MAC and Canadians supporting Canadians, my office received an outreach from them and looking to have something on an informal basis that would be off-site, which was a 7 a.m. breakfast meeting. While I would have preferred, since you've raised it, in terms of a tweet was sent out in response to some statements by Councillor McDougall associated with that, where she said it was certified that the student in question is not an employee of the CBRM, but suggests he works with the PC party. Nothing against said student. What is very upsetting is the complete lack of morals shown by the mayor bringing campaign staff along to attend civic duties. That's on the public record by Councillor McDougall. And I would deal appropriately in terms of morals and if there's ethical standards. Now, in terms of what is in play, number one, the student, the youth in question, is not does not work for the PC party. The student in question is not campaign staff, but indeed is a student on summer break and volunteering on a political campaign. And in terms of civic duties being breached, this was not an FCM or a CBRM. It was an informal gathering to do a response and a thank you that was there. As mayor and presiding officer, but in terms of mayor and communicating, in the case at hand, I asked the student if they would be, because we knew there would be a photo op, to take pictures. But no different than Councillor McDougall being a member of the PC party of Nova Scotia, I would say, is the concern about PC party business, or is it a concern about CBRM business? And so that is something that can be dealt with another day if it's so chosen to be. But any of us can be members of political parties in terms of our democratic rights and freedoms, and we've come through a few world wars and a number of other disputes and around the world. But as far as someone being aligned and have a membership in a political organization, I think that that's something we're trying to encourage young people in this country, because too many are not voting and involved in the democratic and political processes. So to have a guest of mine, in fact, the Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Lisa Raitt, was in town, and I could have invited her to come as my guest as mayor and take a picture for me. And so in terms of communicating and being the spokesperson and going into an event. So if we're going to check memberships at cards at doors for any events, so be it. But in the case, as the youth introduced himself, was I'm here to take pictures, right, in terms of that's what the request was. As far as morals and ethics go, and I'm glad you have raised this, it would have been something to cross the line had I left that function and chosen to use social media or other communication means to promote that for political purpose and gain within the PC party of Nova Scotia. Had I put something on a campaign or political social media related to that, then that would be a fair criticism to have. But in the point in question, I do believe the tweets and pictures that may have been put out there were put out there by Wood Buffalo in their own appreciation and enthusiasm to communicate. And so everybody that was going to FCM would have been invited to be part of that breakfast event. And again, it wasn't a CBRM event. It was an informal event to say thanks for something that occurred. In the case of young people involved with the public process, I suppose, you know, is something, what message are we sending about wanting them to be engaged with the political process, regardless municipal, provincial, federal, apolitical or partisan. So I regret in this case that I had the youth in question, Hunter Bettens, being attacked as a youth for being politically involved with something when all they were was a guest and did no more than what was asked was to take a picture and be part of a celebratory event. So that is my position on that matter. And again, I never comment on any, quite frankly, at any level of government, of any guest brought by an elected official to events. And so I look at that, and I've never questioned people's engagement, programs, those that would be invited. In this case, it was related to a specific function of taking a celebratory picture so that all people in the room could be in the picture and it be dealt with. And the person in question took the pictures of anyone that was there elected and wanted their pictures taken. So that is in response to that. Any other matters? We stand adjourned.